Let's talk biology. It is the platform or the channel for one who have difficulty or have some doubts about biology. So this is the right place for you. So join this channel. Today I am going to explain some words that are used in biology that sound similar but they are not similar in their meanings. So let's start. The first word I am going to explain is ileum. As you can see, there are two spelling of the ileums are there. I-L-I-U-M, I-L-E-U-M. The first word ileum, it is basically a bone present in our pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle basically is our hip structure, hip bone structure. The hip bone is made by three bones. As you can see in the diagram, I have written there ilium, ischium, pubius. There are three bones present in our pelvic girdle. Ileum is one of them. The other word ileum, I-L-E-U-M. It is a part of the small intestine. As you can see in the diagram, from the stomach, small intestine is joining. The small intestine basically a coiled structure. It has three portions: duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So duodenum is the first part that is terminating or joined with the stomach, and in between the duodenum and the ileum there is a jejunum, and ileum is the large portion of the small intestine that joined with the large intestine further. So basically this ileum is the part of small intestine. The second word is glycogen and glucagon. Glycogen basically is a polysaccharide. These are carbohydrates but polysaccharide in form. They are mostly present in animals in stored form, and they are present in liver. So whenever we are low energy or our body needs energy, so the glycogen releases from the liver and give us energy in the form of the glucose. And another word, glucagon. As you can see, the spelling is the G-L-U-C-A-G-O-N, glucagon. It is the hormone, it is a protein hormone, and it is secreted by the pancreas. So whenever we are low in energy, the pancreas releases the hormone glucagon, and this hormone stimulates liver that liver can release the glucose that is present in the liver in the stored form of the glycogen. So it means when we are low in energy or our body is in the dire need of the glucose, so the glucagon releases by the pancreas because the body needs glucose, and it will stimulate the organ that has a stored form of the glucose in the form of the glycogen or the polysaccharide. So the glucose, enough quantity of the glucose or the enough will be released by that organ. It is working against the opposite of the insulin, because pancreas releases insulin when we are high in sugar. So, but when we are low in sugar, the pancreas, the same gland, releases the glucagon that will stimulate the release of the glucose. Another word is synapses. There are, as you can see, there are the two spellings of the synapses: S-Y-N-A-P-S-E, S-Y-N-A-P-S-I-S. The first synapses is basically a junction between neurons. Basically, neurons have the information in the form of the neurotransmitters. Then if one neuron has information, then it has to be passed to the other neuron. So when one neuron communicate by means of the transferring neurotransmitter to the other neuron, so this junction is known as synapses. You can see in the following diagram how neurons communicate with each other. Why they are communicating? Because they have to transfer neurotransmitters. And why they are transferring neurotransmitters? Because neurotransmitters have some sort of knowledge, some sort of message that has to be conveyed from the one neuron to the other. and it can also junction between the neuron and the muscle or any organ. If the neuron has to stimulate it or have some information for the gland or for the organ, then the last neuron has to give the information in the form of the neurotransmitters to that respective gland or the organ. As you can see in the second diagram, there is a muscle fiber that is receiving information in the form of the neurotransmitter from the neuron. This junction is also known as synapses. In other synapses, synapses. This synapses is associated with the cell division. During cell division, chromosomes align themselves. Before the cell division, they are not aligned like that as I have drawn in the picture. So they are present in the chromatin network or the bunch of the chromosome. At the time of the cell division, they started to unwind themselves. As the cell division proceed, the chromosome started to align and pairing themselves. So pairing of the chromosome is known as synapses. So it is a process or it is a phenomena that take place during the process of the cell division. When homologous chromosomes align themselves or the pairing themselves, the process is known as synapses. These both words pronounced same. If we call the synapses of the neuron in the plural form, it is also known as the synapses. Just we add the s at the end. I have written the singular form of the synapse. So when we are calling about the junctions, then we can say synapses. So they both have the same pronunciation, but the spelling is different. The other term is cervical or cervix. The first word you can see cervical, cervical, cervical vertebrae. Mostly this word used with the vertebrae because these are the vertebrae present in our body. Our vertebral column, or you can say backbone, is the long structure of the vertebrae. Vertebrae are the structure that make up the whole backbone or the vertebral column. So we have the regions in our vertebral column: the neck region, the thoracic region, the abdominal region, and the tail region, sacral region are there. So the vertebrae that make our neck, these vertebrae are known as cervical vertebrae. I am calling them vertebrae because the vertebrae is a plural word. We cannot call it vertebras. We can call them vertebrae. So the vertebrae that make our neck, these vertebrae are termed as cervical vertebrae. And the other word is cervix. The cervix, cervix. This is the structure basically present in our uterus. Uterus is a part that is present in women's body, and the uterus organ that helps in the developing of the fetus. So uterus is a triangular, you can say in the diagram, this is the triangular structure in the woman body. It has a narrow end at the end. This narrow end is known as cervix. So the cervix is the neck, or you can say the narrow end of the uterus. So they both have similar pronunciation, but they are different in meaning. One important thing I want to tell you, that if you want to find out that where you can find out these terms, so cervix, cervix, you can find out in this term in the chapter of reproduction. And the cervical vertebrae, you can find out this term in the support and movement, where you have studied the vertebral column or the skeleton of human. In that chapter you will find out the cervical vertebrae. Synapses, synapse, this word you will find in coordination and control, where you have studied nervous system or the neuron, and then this term is present in that chapter. And the synapses, synapses, this term you will find in the chapter where you have studied cell division, mitosis and the meiosis. in that chapter you will find this term. Glycogen you have studied in the biological molecules, as well as you have studied when you have the topic of liver. At that point you have gone through the word glycogen and the glucagon basically is a hormone. So it is related with the coordination and control have a portion of the glands and hormones in which there is a gland pancreas, and you have studied insulin. With the insulin you can also find out the glucagon there. Ileum, ileum, you can find out the word ileum where you have studied skeleton or the girdles, pelvic and the pectoral girdle, when you have gone through the skeleton of human. At that chapter, in that chapter you can find out a structure or the structure of the pelvic girdle, where you can find out the ileum. And another ileum, ileum, you can find out this word when you have gone through digestion, nutrition and digestion in human, and that in that chapter you can find out ileum. This is all about my lecture of today. If you find any difficulty, you can comment down in comment section. If you need any confusion, you want to be clear, then I'm here. You can ask any query. If you like this video, then share it and subscribe. Let's talk biology. Thank you.